Folks, you are going to be, first off, welcome to our ITC Cyberops meeting for Tuesday, July 26th of 2018. We're going to talk about several things today, but I will say you're one of my last classes that will be using WebEx for our class meetings, as I have actually obtained a Zoom set of Zoom license to use for the future. So we will be using Zoom in our future classes. The main reason for that, quite honestly, is because Zoom saves the recording in a .mp4 file format, and I do not have to convert it before I upload it. So it'll make it much quicker for me to be able to upload classes immediately after class ends. Right now, with the way that WebEx works, you have to save it as an ARF and then convert it, and the conversion takes as long as the class was. So however many minutes the class is, that's how long the conversion takes. So it's a bit of a pain, but it does work. So again, just throwing that out there. If you're looking to teach this class remotely in an online environment, Zoom has been more impressive to me in that respect. And I know Cisco's going to go, what? Because they're WebEx. But for the version of WebEx I have, it's not as clean as Zoom. So take it for what it's worth. But if you are going to teach in that environment, one thing that, again, this class has been about is not just teaching you the materials, which many of you already knew, but teaching you best practices for the class. If you are going to teach this class in a remote environment, I would strongly suggest synchronous meetings at least once a week. I wish I could have more meetings, but I understand too that you as instructors, it's very difficult to do that. With an actual student class, I would prefer to have 2 meetings per week, but many times that's not possible either. So if we can do 1 meeting, possibly recorded lectures, that's maybe the best way to go. But that's just throwing that out there as different ideas. Anybody else have ideas of what they do for their online classes that will really help? Oops. Greg, I'm going to mute you. Anybody else? Any ideas? Any things you want to mention? All right. How many of you teach in a remote environment? Just raise your hand. Do the little hand button if you do. Okay. So a good number. A large number do. Okay. All right. I'm just finding that that's one of the ways that, people, they want to learn. So it's very important. Greg, I unmuted you so you can mute yourself if you want to. That way you can mute yourself. All right, so I'm going to share my desktop real quickly. And just a couple of quick updates. Next week, no class meeting. I will delete it off the schedule and give you the reasoning. But the reasoning is I'm going to be at Gen Con on Thursday night. And unless I am mistaken, let's see here. By the way, if you are into any type of geekery, Gen Con is probably one of the coolest things ever. But it is basically a big convention where you play games and have fun. That's what it's about. So it's kind of neat. And it is they do have a trade day, which is looking at different types of ways of using gaming inside of inside the classroom. So trying to see what I got Thursday night. I know y'all really don't care, but I'm playing Space Hulk Thursday, which is a miniatures game. So kind of throw that out there. But if you ever want to know what Gen Con is, go to gencon.com and you can go and take a look at it. And it's just a neat little fun thing. Just be aware, don't ever wait till the last minute to get your tickets because it sells out. And hotels downtown Indianapolis sell out so fast, it's absolutely unbelievable. So item 1, no class next week. Item 2, we are on, folks, I emailed y'all this because I was told that I could share it, and I'm not real sure I was supposed to share it now in retrospect, but so just don't tell anybody. But Cyberops has been approved for DoD 8570. Now, I do not know what level it has been approved for. I got that question, and I actually sent that to my contact to try to find out what level it has been approved for. But DoD, and I'm sure, quite honestly, Nicole, you could tell us much more about it than even I can. But it's a set of standards by the Department of Defense used to define cyber security roles and needed skills in the cybersecurity job functions within the Department of Defense. Is that correct, Nicole, and everybody? I mean, you all know about it more than me, just so I don't want to say something wrong. I'll take that as a yes. Okay. Well, here is a level of the different level, IAT level 1, level 3, level 2. You'll notice that CCNA security does actually fulfill level 1, level 2. So I am taking a guess that CCNA Cyberops will also fall into level 2, level 3. Okay. Did somebody say they're going to actually be at Gen Con? Palladium's got a new. Cool. Cisco's got a new one called Spark. They do have a new one called Spark. I haven't played with it. Yeah, I know about Palladium. That will be funny. All right, there's a bunch of links here that we've got, some free PCAP stuff I will share. And I'll throw that out there. But I'm thinking, just from looking at this, I would really think that it's going to be level 1, level 2. That would be my guess. IAT level 1, level 2. Anybody disagree with that? Fully agree with that? Don't have a clue, et cetera, et cetera?
Hey, Kelly, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My phone disappeared. I couldn't find it to talk. I was muted.
All right.
So the research, I can't find anything that will confirm it right now, but I'm thinking level 1 just because it is supposed to replace the Cyber or
Okay.
the Cyber certification that Cisco had before.
Okay.
And so we're thinking IAT level 1.
Okay.
But,
well,
yeah,
and I looked up the Cyber, and the reason I thought it might go into both would be because you see the CYSA Plus, much of the material that's in CCNA CyberOps is very similar to what's in CYSA Plus. And I know it's also 2 exams, which made me think that maybe it would, would take the place. I don't know personally.
yeah.
I have no idea, but I think either way, it is going to at least be 8570 qualified.
Right.
And that'll be really good because it will give it. I know for many of you that teach and use DoD levels, it'll make a huge difference for you. So.
Right.
Okay. Any questions about that? Like I said, I don't have any more information other than it will be approved, and I don't know what level it will be. I don't think it's going to be long before that will actually come out there and will be available to you, but it is out there. One other thing, did all of you get the email from Echo about the free CCNA CyberOps labs from NDG for just instructors only?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, then let me put this into the class recording so you can see it. I'm not going to share Echo's. Well, I can't really do that. I will do this. I will forward this email to everyone in the class. I don't want to put this on the internet because it's got a link that is for instructors only. So I will send that out to the class. I will forward it here at the end of class. But basically, if you don't have access to NetLabs, then NDG is going to give you access for free. Folks, you've got access in my class, and I'm not going to turn it off anytime soon. So you're going to have access to play around with those labs. More than likely, I won't even turn it off throughout the rest of the fall semester because you should have the ability to do labs for yourself, not for your students, but for you. Have I got it backwards? 8750 or 8570? It's 8570. John asked, so does DoD 8570 mean there's demand for learners from military bases for this course? I would say yes. I would say yes. Once it is approved, the problem becomes how slow things are in the DoD. And how long it takes for the DoD to get this wrapped into their training regimen. So you know how the military works and how the government works. So that's the only thing I would say. Yeah. Now Greg's got a very good point though. Greg makes a point that contractors that work with DoD, you would probably see it much faster, even with contractors, than you would with the military, or with the actual soldiers, because they they tend to be very slow to change specifications for military occupational specialties. They got what they're going to do, what they need to do, what they're going to learn, and that's what they do. On the contractor side, though, it can be a little more fluid and flexible. So I would definitely say contractors. All right. Just wanted to share this with you, though, because it is very exciting news. It's one of the things that's been asked repeatedly about the ITC Cyberops, and I wanted to make sure you were aware of it, that it's coming down the pipe. I know I'm going to put this on the internet, but just don't tell anybody. Okay. All right. So that's the two big items. Now, what I want to do now is I want to talk about the last part of the class, and in particular, what I want to do is I want to spend some time working on actually walking through a lab for you. And that lab is going to be the lab that sets up the 4 VM environment. Now, a lot of people go, well, why do you want to do that? Well, if you're not running net labs, this is where you're probably going to get into your most trouble. All right. So if you're going to be using local machines and you've gone through Chapter 10, you've been fine with the ITC Cyberops workstation machine, everything's running great. It's all hunky-dory. It's at this point that you're going to have to take your students, and this is in Chapter 12 or Chapter 11. You are going to have to, at the end of Chapter 11, and set up this multi-VM environment. You will need to download these OVAs. So when you click here, it will actually take you out to an OVA, and you will download those OVAs. Okay. So workstation. Now, of course, you should already have this one downloaded, the Cyberops workstation. It's already installed. It's already in VirtualBox. Okay, so here's my VirtualBox. So it's sitting here. Okay. Now, you need to download the Kali Linux, the Metasploitable, and the Security Onion. I would go ahead and download all of these. I would make sure that I have them local and on either a local store or already copied to every single machine that you're going to run through this lab on. That's what I would probably do, is go ahead and copy it to every local machine, just for speed purposes. I have them locally on my machine. I have them in my downloads folder, in a ITC Cyberops folder, and you can see here they are. So I've got the Cyberops workstation and on down through with all these. So you're looking at what, 3, 5, 6, 8, about 9 gigs. I'd say about 9, 11 gigs of space to have all 4 of those. All right, so it's very important to have those downloaded. If you only have 8 gigs of RAM, you need to make sure that the only thing running on your machine is just the PDF reader for this lab and VirtualBox, because 8 gigs is really pushing what this can do. Now, I've showed you this before, but I want to bring it up again because I don't want there to be any doubt about the fact that if you teach this locally, you need a big honking machine to run the labs in your lab. Or if you're trying to do this remotely, you must put a requirement on that student machine at their house that they have a big honking machine, okay? Because if not, they're not going to have a pleasant experience with these labs at the end. Of those of you who have completed the labs at the end, what do you think about them? I actually think they're some of the best labs that I've seen in a while, but they're really good labs if you've got the machine to handle it. Anybody want to comment on them? I actually had one of my instructors who was in the spring class, who I talked to today, comment on how he liked them a great deal and planned on teaching it in high school after doing ITC 1 and 2. I thought that was a really pretty good plan. Module 12 labs are tough. Okay, Nicole's working on mine. Didn't mean to call you out, Nicole, but haven't completed. Ones completed are very good. Yep, I agree. Okay. Well, good. Oh, we're up to 23 too. That's awesome. All right. So what I'm going to do now, we're going to import each one of the machines. Now, all we have to do this. Sorry about that, Nicole. We're going to go import appliance, and we're going to go to our downloads, Cyberops, and I'm going to do Kali Linux. Now, one of the big things here is to make sure that you click reinitialize the Mac and import. Okay, and that's all you have to do, and then you can wait. Now, I wish you could do multiples at one time, but you can't. So you have to kind of let it grab down through there. Okay, let's see here. Greg says, Chapter 12 lab assignments, we have 2 12.411 and 2 12.412 from the zip assignments. Okay. I'll try to comment, Greg. Let me see what I can figure out here. And oh, okay, I got you. You're talking about in the you're talking about up here on the Word documents, up here in course introduction. Is that correct? Right there. Okay. All right. You should just use the first 12.411. I'll pull it up and let me open it up and check, make sure. I don't know why he would have put 2 in there. Actually, like I said, I got this from another instructor, but just use the ones that are not alternate. Use the actual lab as shown. Okay. So use that. Use just the non-alternate. Yeah. Another great question. Greg says, does the Kali Linux box have required tweaks? It does. So the required tweaks we will see here in just a second deal with the VMs. Okay. So that's why I would, you got to download, got to use those. All right, so we've got this one. Kali is now installed. And we'll go in here and go File, Import Appliance, and same thing. And again, this is not rocket science. I know y'all can do this, but I still want to walk through it until something like that happens. Okay, there we go. Woo. Reinitialize, import. Now, I'll be honest with you, if you've got a little extra RAM, it never hurts to throw extra RAM at it. So, you know, if you've got 32 gigs of RAM on your machine and you want to throw some extra RAM at these machines, it's not going to hurt anything. But it's something, you know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So Cyberops, and the last, security onion. Okay, so at this point, we have completed all of the VMs as they are brought in. And here is where we're talking about the changes that are there. And that's the fact that the networks have already been set. And if we look, quite honestly, if we look here at, looking at painting a kill team, that's a little different. But if we look right here at the lab itself that is in the NetLabs pod, you'll see that it's very similar. The only thing they've done differently is added a Windows client so that you can do the Chapter 2 labs. Okay. But you'll see the security onion is going to have 3 network interfaces. So DMZ outside and inside. And then the Cyberops workstation needs to be on the inside, the Kali is on the internet, and the Metasploitable is on the DMZ. So we're building that exact same setup that we have on NetLabs. We're just doing it inside of our virtual box. And by the way, folks, you can very easily do this in VMware Workstation. If you've converted the OVAs, just make sure you pay attention to the information. So, like on right here, we see that we have internal network on Kali, and it is connected to the internet, which is the network, and that is what is shown here. Okay, so the Kali Linux is connected to the internet. All right. Now I actually open up their settings instead of just clicking on the panel, but either way, you can do it however you want. So you can do details here and look at it. So the Kali Linux is connected on the internet to the internet. You do the Metasploitable, and you see the Metasploitable is on the DMZ and the internet, but that one is not used, so that one's actually ignored right now. And then the security onion has an inside DMZ and internet. Now, to this point, though, what we have done in our labs, to this point, our VM workstation that we've been using in VirtualBox has been working in a bridged mode. So in other words, it's been bridged to the adapter of your PC that you're actually installed on. For the NetLab version, Greg, you have to convert it. You have to make some tweaks to it. So there's some tweaks to it to make it work. I think you have to remove a CD-ROM. One of our classmates, I sent out I think I sent out the information about how to do it. Oh, the NetLabs version. Oh, I see what you're saying. You know, Greg, I don't know. I haven't tried it. We can try it here in just a second because I've got it somewhere, or I'll try it and let you know. I think it will though because it works with ESXi. And what Greg was asking is, will the NetLabs version of these images import directly into VMware Workstation? Yeah, they should work. If the first one worked, they should all work. So, but back to what I was saying here real quick. We do have the bridged adapter. Well, that's not going to work because as we can see from our setup here, the Cyberops workstation for these later labs needs to be inside, on the inside network. So we're going to go into the settings of the Cyberops workstation. So we'll go to settings. We're going to go to network, and we're going to change it from here, from bridged adapter to internal network, and change it to inside. Okay, and then click OK. Now this is on the inside network exactly like it is on the pod for NetLabs. Okay. We then have in the lab itself, and I'm not going to run this, but you basically change it from a DHCP to a static. And so you'll go in and run the command to give it a static IP address, and that will give a static IP address to the machine, and you can go from there. So then we test it with pings and those things, and then you shut down the VMs. So be aware that this is not a hard lab to run. It's not hard to set up at all, but it will require you to have a good amount of resources on your machine. And so now mine all are starting up. So now Harry said that they ran a hash of these OVAs and they're not the same as the Cassia downloads. I don't doubt that at all. I'm sure they are modified, so they're not the exact same things. And what he's saying is the hashes of the OVAs from the NetLabs that are required for the NetLabs system are not the same as the downloads from this lab. I would not expect them to be the same because they had to be modified to be able to run on VMware platforms over VirtualBox. So, but at this point, folks, we've got all these machines, and they are running. And Cyberops Workstation, we've got the Security Onion running, and we've got, let's see, that's the Kali box, and then Metasploitable is booting up. Okay. So all 4 machines getting ready to run and are ready to go. So it's not again, not a hard lab, but it's very important that you do walk your students through this, especially if they are remote, because your students may not have the knowledge to work some of these. It will be extremely important for any of you who are wanting to use VMware that you build a set of instructions showing how to do this on VMware, because once they deploy them, they will have to make changes to them. So that's going to be a problem. We also need to be very careful about the Cassia downloads, because I don't know, I don't believe it would be legal to give students the actual OVAs from Cassia. So I don't know, that's a gray area there for any of the boxes, because those would be those that are made by NDG. So we need somebody to probably convert them and then put them in some type of storage and then make them available. So easiest thing to do is make sure you use VirtualBox, so that VirtualBox is used. Okay. Any questions? Again, we can run the script, change the DHCP. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go ahead and do that just so I can, we'll pull this over here so we can just do it real quickly and make sure it's working. That way you won't say, you're not from, you'll say you're from Missouri and it's not actually working. Show me state. Are there any questions on the lab as we, as I just showed it to you? No questions at all easy, nothing to it?
No.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad lab. But again, I just want you aware so you won't get caught by surprise when you look at the requirements. And let's see, configure underscore as underscore static. Oh, that's already in there. All right, so I just configured it as a static. Okay, and now we can ping, what are we going to ping here? 209.205. If y'all are like me, there's so many IP addresses out there. 209.205.201.17. Come on now. Maybe not. Oh, it's 235. There we go. What? All right. Troubleshooting 101. All right, that's working. Let me check my other IP addresses. I knew the second I go to test it, it wouldn't work. Ultimate fail. Okay, so here's the security onion. So I'm going to pull my workstation over here. I need more screens. And I'm going to ping 209. All right, so I can ping across there. And I can ping wrong thing. Will. It does work, honest. Yeah, I may have to. I'm gonna go check. All the interfaces are up though on the security onion. They're up there too. Oops. Ain't tight. Yeah. Now it works. Go figure. 209. I'm pretty sure I was typing 200 instead of 201. Ah, okay. So I got pingage between the Kali Linux box and the Cyberops workstation machine. And let's see if I've got 200.235. Yep. And then I got connectivity between the Metasploitable and the inside machine. I've got full connectivity now. It helps when you put the right IP addresses in. It's amazing. That's exactly, yep, that was supposed to be different. So, it is what it is. It's now working too. So, but it does work, and it's a good little setup that we now use for the rest of our labs. Any question about those? I'm actually close these. Now, when you close the machine, you can actually power it off. One thing I will tell you again about the skills-based assessment, if you're doing your skills-based assessment inside a VirtualBox and you let it sit for a long time,
yeah, for plate and you're about to go to Y.
Exactly.
you may have to actually
Hey, I'll hit you a plate before you go.
Someone talking?
Kelly, can you just go back to that NetLab diagram said I get a look again?
Okay.
Okay.
So you see the same exact thing is being done in the lab.
So the onion is used here as a firewall.
Correct. Correct. Yep. Yeah, and Greg does mention if you have problems with the pingage to start with, and I do call it pingage, you can turn you can bring the interfaces up down. So you do a if each zero up and then down or down up. Basically, turn it off, turn it back on. Nicole, I unmuted you. I thought you were. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
You're welcome. So it's the exact same thing, pretty much. All right. So any questions on that? Like I was saying, if you do shut down or if you're doing your skills-based assessment and you wait a long time, it may clear the SQL window out. So please make sure that you're probably going to have to install the ESBA in order for that to work. Now, a lot of times I just power off the appliances here because I'm not trying to save anything. And I know it's not best practice, but I could shut them down if I wanted to, but I'm being lazy. Okay. All right. Let's see. Any questions? That was my plan for the night, folks, is just to show you this and get you set up so that you know how to do it. Make sure you're able to do it. Make sure you have any questions that you may have about it answered. I'm not going to keep you much longer tonight, but I will be available again. Please be aware that if you email me right now, you'll get a response that says, I am on faculty break, but I am monitoring email for my classes. So if you are in my class, you're not bothering me whatsoever. This class goes minimum until August 14th. Most of you know that I've set up the class to go at least to the August 31st. So make sure that you're aware that if you get a thing that bounces back, I just can't turn it off for you, but be aware it doesn't apply to you. I'm going to try my best to respond to you. And you know, just be aware next week when I'm on at Gen Con, things may be a little bit slow to respond depending on what time of the day it is. So, all right. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording.